My name is Carlton Cartwright. I'm the Executive Director for the Children's Coalition Incorporated. We are here today at the Veterans Affairs Medical Center in West Palm Beach, Florida. And so I'm doing all of this for the record. Who is attending? We'll do this gentleman second. And what is your name, miss?
Therese Arsenault.
Okay, Therese, and sir, what is your name?
What part?
Dad, what's your name? Just say your name.
Daniel E. Arsenault.
Arsenault? Mm-hmm. I would imagine. Okay, and when is? All right, just anyway, when is your birthday?
4/17/1926.
Okay, and what is your current address?
722 Northwest 11th Street, Boynton Beach.
Okay, great. Florida, okay. And, so, Miss Arsenault, what is your first name again?
Therese Arsenault.
All right, Therese. Let's see. So anyway, what war did you serve in, sir? What war?
Two.
World War II? Where? Where did you serve?
All over the Pacific.
Oh, in the Pacific Theater?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, and what branch of the service were you in?
Maybe.
Navy? Okay. What was your rank when you separated?
Fireman first class.
Fireman first class.
Oh, okay, it was a fireman.
Engine room.
Engine room, okay. And so tell me about some of the different places that you served.
Saipan, Iwo, Okinawa, Japan.
Right. Were you drafted or did you enlist?
Yeah.
You enlisted. Okay, and where were you living at the time?
Where
were you
Where
living?
were you living at the time that you enlisted?
Detroit, Michigan.
Okay, uh-huh. And why did you pick that branch of the service? Why did you pick the Navy?
Because you didn't have to do anything.
That's what they told you?
No, that's what I found out.
That's what you found out? He was a fireman, right?
He hated walking. His feet would get sore. Also, all the guys he grew up with that were a little bit older,
yeah,
they'd already gotten clobbered. Every single young man, boy, literally, that he grew up with was already injured or killed. And then it was his time coming up. He liked to be very mechanical. That combination pushed him toward the Navy, but he'll always joke about it.
Okay.
But there were some serious reasons why. It was sad. Think about it. At that age, to have to think about that, all your childhood friends are now either badly injured or dead because they were all going into the Army, European theater, and not having a lot of good luck back then.
What year did you go into the service, Daniel? Daniel, right?
Mm-hmm.
1944.
1944.
Ask him what day.
Huh?
Ask him what day.
I'm scared. What day did you go in?
How do I know?
Oh, yes, you know. April Fool's Day. The recruiter said come back tomorrow, so it'll be April Fool's Day, and you'll always remember.
You think that's funny?
No.
Okay. I see. Okay. All right. Tell me what okay. So you enlisted in Detroit. Where did you go after Detroit?
Great Lakes, Illinois.
Great Lakes, Illinois. The training center there.
That's okay. All right. All right. And tell us a little something about boot camp. What was that like?
You got clobbered.
Huh.
Tell them about you getting hurt.
How did you get hurt?
I got shots.
Huh?
I got shots.
You got what?
Shots.
During training,
You got shot.
a mortar shell exploded prematurely in the tube, and everything became shrapnel. Took out a bunch of guys. He got clobbered before he got started. He got his first disability from training camp.
I'm learning what that word means, clobbered. I'm getting that. That's a new education.
That's what the guys would talk about from
right.
the Navy, clobbered.
I understand. I understand. Okay. All right. All right. So I guess there were a lot of casualties, huh, in basic training alone.
Not that many, but
Okay. Some.
enough.
Enough. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's see. Do you remember your instructors? No, you don't remember those guys. Okay. All right. So you served in World War II. All right. So where did you go after the Great Lakes?
Indiana, right?
Well, Hawaii.
You went to Hawaii. Okay. And how long did you serve in Hawaii?
It's a good thing. It's a good thing they painted some of these ships, because I didn't last that in Hawaii. I had a blink of an eye.
He was only there a short
And
time.
They had everybody painting ships.
Oh, okay. Oh, really? Everyone's painting ships. So how long were you there? Were you there a long time? No? Yeah. No? So, okay, so you maybe a couple of months maybe?
Oh no.
Weeks. He was not a good
Very
ship painter. He was not a good ship painter.
A few weeks?
Could be.
Maybe a day? Okay, where did you go after Hawaii?
Guadalcanal.
Guadalcanal.
Mm-hmm.
What country is that in again? Craig, remember? Guadalcanal? Was that in the Philippines?
No.
No.
One of the first islands we hit.
One of the first islands that they shelled hit. He was already he was on the USS Indiana at this point, the battleship.
Okay, so he was already in Japan then.
He went from Hawaii. Again, he was a bad painter. He dropped stuff into the water all the time and everything. He had literally, you can't get fired in the Navy, but he sure did his record turnaround time. But he lucked out, and he got a beautiful battleship, which is, you can imagine, that's a dream.
Okay, all right, okay. So how long were you on the battleship? What was the name of the battleship?
USS Indiana.
Okay, and how long were you on that ship?
3 years.
2 years?
3?
3?
3 years.
2.
So tell me about your duties on the battleship. What did you do?
Nothing.
You know, I don't believe you. You had to do something.
No. I always had a knack for disappearing.
He's having fun with you. He had a knack for disappearing. No, he.
That was in between the work, though.
In between, oh, definitely.
Yeah. So, okay, tell me some of his jobs that he did.
He was in the engine room.
Okay.
Fireman, and as everyone knows, well, I should have brought the brochure. If you give me an address, I'll mail it to you. Because what the official description is, you
need to tell me.
Okay, they started out apprenticing for a very long time.
Okay.
And you literally tagged along after your chief or whatever, or whoever he assigned you to, and you literally had to learn everything from the ground up. So whether it was cleaning stuff, the equipment, simple maintenance changes, and then you had to learn how to do parts, because you didn't have Ace Hardware nearby.
Right.
So they...
When you say do parts, you mean...
Fabricate.
Build parts?
They would have to... Things happen, you're on a ship, you had to learn fabrication.
Okay.
So they just did all these different things and learned, and then they see what talents did you have, what was the young guy hanging around over his shoulder trying to learn the stuff, and that's how they would put the guys. And then also you've run crews, you know what I'm talking about. If the guy didn't like it as much, you could feel it.
I understand. Before we go any further, I need to go back for a minute and find out, Daniel, what was it that you were doing before you went in the service? In other words, when you went to enlist, what were you doing in your life at that time?
I was working for Federal Mogul.
He was studying at home and working for Federal Mogul.
Federal what?
Federal Mogul.
What is that?
It was a large company at the time.
Okay.
They did. They became known as the Asbestos Company.
Oh, lovely.
But back then they did lots of war products, materials, ball bearings.
Okay. All right. So
But also studying.
So you lived on the ship for 3 years, and you've already told me some of the places that you visited. So besides the engine room, did you ever have to put out any fires? You keep telling me you're a fireman.
That's what they called a fireman back then because
Oh.
of the. Again, that's why I said you'd have to read that brochure. It's changed. Everyone thinks firemen, you're putting out fires.
Right.
No, fireman was back from the World War I days. The designations from when they had the old style engine rooms.
Right.
They just hadn't changed over what these jobs were called. But that was an engine room. You're basically a type of mechanic.
Okay. All right.
That's different.
Right. Did you see any action?
Mm-hmm.
You did. You saw action. So has he told you about his
Oh gosh, gotcha. I can. What his service things were the Asiatic Pacific Area campaign medal 5 stars, the Victory Medal, and the American Area Campaign Medal.
Let me have that. Thank you.
The 5 stars, everything big that happened in the Pacific, he was there for.
Okay. So you engaged the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Did you engage the enemy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can you tell us anything about it? I'm sure you told your daughter everything. Trying to see if I can get you to tell me a couple of things. What are a couple of the most memorable experiences that you had in combat?
One of the things that I can talk about is taught you to keep your head down. I'm here.
I understand. You survived.
What was it like down in the engine room when you were at battle
That's
stations?
that's steam. My daughter talked about steam.
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 What about it?
Steam. The fireman thing.
Right.
Rating has to do with because of this the steam engine. The
Steam engines?
And
Yeah.
that's where the old designation comes from, not fighting fires.
Okay, he's explaining that to me?
Yeah.
I missed that part. He's letting me know I got it
No,
wrong.
that's fine. Oh, okay. Straightening you out again. That's not a bad thing. Okay. All right, yeah, you parents, my dad's 98. He keeps me straight also. I understand that concept. Okay. They never stop being a parent. Even though we wind up trading places. But even as they go into this childlike kind of form, they're still the boss. Don't you forget that either, Trill. I'm here to tell you.
I know that.
Don't let them catch you forgetting that. Oh, okay. All right. That's a good job, though. All right. Okay, so you went to Saipan,
Iwo.
Iwo Jima,
Okinawa.
Okinawa.
The
All right.
bombardment of Japan. They were in with even the first one. The first bombardment of Japan.
Right.
His ship.
He was there.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Do you have any memories about this? The war? No, it's all. Hey, what did you guys do for entertainment and relaxation? Did you go on R&R? So anyway,
My daughter's sitting next to me, Guy.
moving right along. Yeah, I let's hear it.
R.
Anyway, what'd you say, Daniel? I'm sorry. What?
They drank lots of beer. Those were some of his best stories. These island brewed beers that they did, and how they just used all the local stuff and legendary, like how much the alcohol content and everything.
But they gave you leave time sometimes, right? Of course.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you stay in the Pacific or did you come back to Detroit?
Stayed in the
You
Pacific.
stayed there the whole time.
You never had a choice.
Okay.
Back then.
Once you got in the Pacific, there's no way in hell you're getting out of there.
No, okay. You couldn't come back to the mainland, huh?
No.
Not even to San Francisco
That's
or.
right.
Where did you disembark from on the West Coast? Was it L.A. or was it San Francisco? Where did the ship pick you up?
The ship didn't pick me up. I picked the ship up.
He had to go out to meet the ship.
Oh, how did they get out to the ship? How did you get to the ship? By plane or boat?
Rowboat.
Rowboat. Okay, so was it closer to San Francisco or to Los Angeles?
My dear friend, do I look like Dr. IQ today?
Well, at least he called me his friend. My dear friend. Go figure it out. I understand. No problem. Okay. Now, don't worry about it. All right.
I'm not.
Were you a prisoner of war?
No.
Okay, good. Congratulations. I'm glad you missed out on that boat.
I kept my head down.
Kept your bed? Yeah, I understand. You kept your head down. I'm there with you. Believe me. Because when I went in, it was peacetime. I have no regrets about nobody shooting at me, and I didn't have to shoot back at anybody else. It doesn't bother me one bit. If I had to, I would have. But I didn't have to, and it's okay.
All the best.
Yes, no problem. No bloodthirst, no bloodthirst here.
You're a boss. You're a boss.
I'm the boss. Okay. Okay. All right. So, were there a lot of casualties in your unit?
No.
No. Good for you. All right.
Again, unit in a ship would be your engine room guys.
Okay.
On the ship, of course, there were, because there were strafings. Boy, the stories about them shooting stuff is amazing. Because the one story, just real quick, is when he first got on there, and eventually he'd ask, one of the guys, "What the heck do you know you're shooting at? There's friendlies, there's not friendlies," and they go like, "You do your best, but if they don't give the proper recognition signal in time, you can take down one of your own guys, and you feel bad about it." And I think every person who's ever watched an old World War II movie or footage has wanted to know that question. You do your best.
So there was friendly fire.
And he just said, like, you'd watch and you learned, and it's a hard lesson. It's one of the first things he ever told us about World War II was these things can happen.
Told us? How many? Is that your brothers and sisters?
Yeah, there were three.
Three what?
3 siblings all total.
Okay, boys, girls?
2 brothers.
2 brothers? And
my sister's deceased.
Okay, so there was 4 of them.
There was 4 once.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. So what were the medals for? Did he tell you what the medals were for?
The Indiana was not one of the ships in the back like the New Jersey. They were always one of the first ships in there. And whenever there was a major campaign, they were there doing bombardments. They were also there, sometimes they were moving on for the next one after the bombardments and stuff, but often after these engagements, there were so many wounded. They'd even come onto the battleships. The guys would have to give up their bunks. It wasn't a hot rack. The guys on a battleship had their own racks. You'd give up your rack, they slept on the floor, and the injured got your bunk. And he told many a story about that, and it tore him up how banged up these guys got.
Okay. Did you have a Purple Heart? No?
No, he got hurt in the States. You don't get one for that.
No, well, if you're in the military, you might. Yeah.
We've teased him his whole life of that. You didn't get one. You got hurt in the States.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay, let's see. Okay, so anyway, how did you stay in touch with your family while you were overseas? While you were out in the Pacific, did you write back home, or phone calls, or what? Just letters? Just writing, just letters. Okay, just letters. Okay, and I'm just gonna, I know I'm being redundant, but the entire time that you were pulling that duty, did you go anywhere else in the Pacific besides the Japanese theater? You didn't get to go back to Hawaii at all?
Well, a couple of times.
A couple of times you went back to Hawaii. Okay. How was Hawaii? Did you enjoy it?
Well,
you remember what islands? I know you probably know the big island, right?
Yeah.
What about the other little islands? Oahu and, no, just the big one? Okay. All right. Okay, so we covered every place that you've been there, right? So far? Mm-hmm. Okay, did you go to China at all? No.
He
Okay.
had the war not ended and continued. He was scheduled. That was going to be his next jump, was over into China.
Over to China. Huh?
And so, like he said, like, wow, the war ended. He goes, but if it hadn't, he goes, boy, wouldn't that have been a different future?
Yeah, that was almost.
What happened?
Almost.
Had that war gone even on another 2 or 3 months, he would have been in China.
He was going to
He
China,
had
huh?
the paperwork was being done and
It was
everything.
processed.
And,
Being
yeah.
in process.
And then there was the big ending, which was even better.
The bomb, right?
Yeah.
Did you see? That's a hell of a question. Did you see was it the hydrogen or the atomic bomb? You didn't see it?
He was in Japan. He got to go onshore, but they didn't allow what he did. There was no reason for him to go that close.
All right.
So they kept him outside. But he was in several different cities in Japan, but he never had, like I said, they cut you off. You just
Besides the one we mentioned, what other cities did he say he'd been in?
He was outside Tokyo at one point.
Tokyo?
Outside
Okay.
Tokyo, yeah.
All right. Okay. So you were enlisted. You weren't an officer, were you? Okay, gotcha. All right. So, here's your favorite question. What was the food like? How was the food? We don't want to leave that one out.
Well, you got to eat.
You got to eat, but you weren't happy, right? You didn't like. Did you have any Japanese food? How was that?
Terrible.
Terrible. That was bad too, huh? Okay. So we're not eating when we go that way anymore. Okay. Okay. Did you have all the supplies that you needed? You know, while you were in the service? Did you ever run short or run out of supplies?
No. How about your rice and beans and your beans and rice?
Oh.
Well, you had too much of that, I think. Yeah.
They ran out of all the other food, but there was rice and
But there
beans.
was always rice and beans.
And then beans and rice for the next, and then switch it back to rice and beans.
Okay. We'll stay away from that one too. Okay.
But they didn't lose weight.
That's
what that did not.
They didn't lose weight. Well, they were eating nothing but carbohydrates. So what do you
They
expect?
did not lose weight.
As long as they ate, they were going to maintain their All right. So did you feel or did you experience a lot of pressure and stress? I know he's lying. Okay.
That's what, you know what? That's been asked before by
Really?
guys. You didn't, in his generation, that was the most unmanly thing you could do, was say you were pressure or stress.
Okay.
So no matter what was going on, everything was fine. And that's a generational thing. I've known so many.
I know. No, I understand that. I asked my father about it. My father
There's no
got
other
hit-
answer.
He got hit in the leg with shrapnel in Europe. And, you know, you asked him that question, he goes, well, that was part of the job or something. They all pretty much answered that the same.
On the block we grew up in, guys were from the bombers over Europe, all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff. And the most horrible stories could come out of their mouth. Things they didn't even want to talk about.
Right.
But stress, nope, it just
No
wasn't part
mention.
of, no, it was not allowed. You go and sing together as a group or anything else, but you do not.
Did you ever see any of the USO shows? Did they have USO shows? Did Bob Hope come and visit with you?
He honestly, from the guys on the block, they would say he never got anything.
Well, it happened.
Yeah.
It was, you know, the whole entertainment R&R thing was kind of patchy. You know, you had some places they would make it to, and some places it just didn't happen.
They didn't fly out to the ships back then.
Right, there you go.
And like I said, when you're on the ship in the middle of nowhere,
That's what you got for it. So you're lucky to just have your life every day, I guess. All right. Well, we already did. Where did you travel? Okay. How did you get along with the other officers and the other enlisted personnel? How'd you get along?
fine.
Okay. Made it through. Any favorites? Anybody you hated?
I'm here.
I'm here. There's that. Okay. That's the universal corrective answer. I get it. Okay. All right. So where were you? Okay. So after the tour was over, where did you go back to? you go to Hawaii? Did you come back to Detroit? You know, before you got out of the service, when you, in other words, when your tour was over, where did they ship you back to?
California.
We come back to the States.
Okay.
And it's a picture I'll always remember. And Alcatraz had a big sign.
Alcatraz had a big sign.
Welcome home.
Okay, this is good. This is good information. So, okay, when you saw that, then how long did you stay in California?
First, I get the hell out of there.
That was another 30-minute deal, right?
He was on the USS Logan when he switched over, and you just had to wait for your points to come up, you know, the time, so you just watched the clock tick by. He finished his fireman first class.
Training? Or
taking care of the ships because they were bringing all the ships home.
Oh, so you finished
and they
that
were
duty.
Doing maintenance on them to get them ready for mothballing, and that's where he finished up the rest of his training. And then one day he had enough points, and like this guy was gone.
What do you do? Do you still work?
Lately, I've been taking care of that.
Okay, what do you do for a living? What have you been doing all these years?
I had my own business for a while.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out if you were a nurse or what.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So you stayed. How long did you stay in? How long did they keep you in California before you?
He discharged in May 23rd of 1946.
Where was he when he discharged?
California.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So then, how did you? What did you go back to Detroit? Okay. And so okay.
He hitched.
Couldn't catch a plane or a
Back
bus?
then, if you were getting out of the service, you hitched and you got home just as quick, and you could
Really?
you could save your. I think they gave him $15.40 for travel.
Lovely.
It's on his sheet. I actually read it this morning.
Right.
$15.40, so you could pocket that $15.40 and not have to.
Not have to spend it.
Not have to spend
Right,
it.
just hit your ride. Okay, and so I'd love to know how long it took him to get home.
Not long.
Like a week or less?
Less than a week.
Less than a week, huh? Okay, so you went back to Detroit? So what did you do when you got back home?
Nothing.
Really? That's the truth. I remember.
You had to do something. You're here.
Well,
You
yeah,
got here
eventually.
somehow.
So many guys were coming home at the same time. There was no work.
What?
My friend, they'll say his job.
Jobs?
Job.
Jobs.
There was no
All the
jobs.
veterans were coming home at the same time. There were no jobs.
Okay, so what did you do? Well, eventually, I don't care if it was 20 years later. Tell me what you did. Got back to work. Apparently, you got married.
You ever
got kids.
hear of the 5220 Club?
5220. I think so, but I don't remember what it is.
He had $20 a week.
52 weeks a year from the government. Okay, and so for how long did you do that before you found a
The
job?
whole year.
For 1 year.
Yeah.
And at the end of the year, what'd you do?
Apply again. So you.
For the money. Okay, so how long did you do that before you got a job? I want to find out what you started doing for work when you started working.
What was your first job? What was the first thing you could take? I remember him saying that he took literally 2 years of part-time jobs.
Okay, what were you doing? Like what? Anything, huh?
Fixing things.
Okay. So eventually he got a regular job, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doing what?
Electrician work.
So you've been an electrician.
And then he got into layout and
Is that
drafting.
top secret or what?
No.
Again, go ahead, tell me, Tracy.
and layout and drafting, and that's
Okay.
and again that goes back to the service because they taught the guys layout and draftsmanship.
Oh, okay.
And with being a fireman, not the not the hose fireman.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so all those skills paid off really good for him.
Okay. Did he have his own company? Did you have your own company?
No, he worked for other people, but it was a great field. It kept him out of. Fortunately, Michigan didn't have the boat yards. Most of the Navy veterans at one point worked for a boatyard.
Right.
And when they were decommissioning everything, the lungs, the asbestos. Now he got asbestos from serving. There's one of the nurses behind who's messing with him. he picked it up that way, but so many others picked up from decommissioning these things, all the asbestos exposure.
Right.
But Michigan didn't have it. Oh, one of his first jobs, I'll tell you, the tank armory in Michigan. He did payroll for the tank armory in Michigan, and so it was a federal job. That was the first real job that he could get afterwards. He also at some point got his disability from being clobbered, and so that's money that they had from the program when the war ended, plus the little bit of disability,
Right.
30%, which was a big deal. Believe it or not, that made a guy, that was a rich dude back then, because there were no jobs.
Okay.
So he played semi-pro ball,
Which
baseball.
baseball? And you got paid for that?
Got paid for that too.
Okay, cool.
So like I said, not traditional,
Uh-huh.
but eventually as the labor force evened out,
Uh-huh.
he was able to use those skills that he learned in the Navy and provided very well.
So was he an electrician for like 20 years or?
Probably only 15 or so, but then he got into the, like I said, the drafting and the layout work
Right.
for
And
electrical control panels.
did he retire from that?
Yes, that's what he retired
How
from.
many years did he do
He
that?
retired at 55.
Oh, like my father from the government. Yeah,
We'll
okay.
never do it, but
Right, yeah. Right? Don't remind me, okay? I'll forget that for 5 minutes. Okay, so, did you go back to school or use your GI Bill for anything? No? Okay, all right. Nope. Okay. Did you make any close friendships while you were in the service? Did you have any close friends in the military?
No.
No? It was every man for himself, huh?
there weren't as many from his area. You only went to school. You put your hands up for what service. For my entire life, was the only kid in my class that had somebody in the Navy. You just didn't have them from the area. So you weren't from the same areas. You didn't leave when you went home to the same areas. Rarely did he get to see any of his pals, or guys that he served with. Now, other military guys, best man at his wedding and everything else.
Right, yeah.
But just, it wasn't a Navy area.
How'd you meet your wife?
I don't remember.
You don't remember? How did you meet your mother?
Church.
Okay.
They were both Roman Catholics. And they met
How old are
through
you,
church.
Daniel?
91.
91. Gotcha. You can stop counting now.
I'm trying to count.
You're trying, I know. I'm trying to give you a break.
He was messing with both of us on that one.
1, 2. That'll take a few more weeks. It'll take a little longer than it took for you to get back home. Okay, don't worry about it. That's fine. All right, so now here we go. We're going to wrap this up. Well, we did the career piece. And did he ever belong to any vet organizations over the years?
Yeah, all the usuals, VFW.
VFW.
And the American Legion.
All right.
I think he even played ball for the American Legion teams back in the day.
Okay. Oh, really? For the military groups?
Mm-hmm.
He played. You said he played semi-pro?
He played semi-pro. Detroit area teams. That's the best I can tell you.
All right. Okay.
And he played that into the 60s. So even as a young kid, I knew he played. He still played.
Right. Okay.
Should have been playing hockey though.
All right. Okay, so we know what he did after the service, and basically, I guess I'll just ask you, Teresa. Look, if he can coax you through this last couple of questions. How did the military affect his life overall? How did he feel about the military afterwards?
You can't go through that and not be changed. I mean, he would admit that.
Right.
You saw people get turned into mush that didn't even resemble human beings. That's going to change you right there. That stays with. And he He wouldn't talk about it. He'd always say, "Oh, that was never anything." But when the guys would be having brewskis and sitting around, once in a great while, they'd talk about it. And these were all combat veterans in the neighborhood. And you just hear, and you could just see the tears decades later. It changes a guy.
Anything you want to add to that, Daniel?
No. We already said enough.
We said enough.
We said it.
We
That
said
covers it
enough.
up.
Well, I want to thank you for your service.
Yeah. You're more than welcome.
More than welcome. All right. Well, thank you very much.
The real service is right here.
Taking care of the veterans. He's in awe of the VA.
Really?
Yeah. Done a beautiful, beautiful job.
This place is something else.
What do you say?
This place is something else.
This place is something I got you.
Because he's got 100% disability,
Yes.
service
It's
connected.
a good hospital.
And the asbestos caught up with him at 88.
Uh-huh.
Even though he had the scarring, and it really didn't affect him like so many other vets, but at 88, it took a turn for the worse. And the VA was here for him. He's in awe of all the services, the time you guys give and everything. He really is. You can see he likes to joke about everything. That's just about as long as serious as he ever gets.
Well, that's good. He's maintained a sense of humor. There's nothing wrong with that. That's for sure.
What?
All right.
I taught you something today.
Clobbered.
Daniel, I'm always up for a good lesson. Thank you, though. Thank you very much. Thank you for the interview.
No, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
I'm going to stop this now. Thank you very much.